I feel about Kyrie. I think that Kyrie is a superstar extraordinaire. He is box office. That brother is worth $50 million a year as far as I'm concerned, so long as we know he's going to get off the bus and play, because he's that spectacular of a player. I'm also an individual that is on the record that does not believe that Kyrie Irving could be trusted. I don't believe he ever deserved a long-term contract again in his career. I would give him 1 year at a time. Max dollars, he don't deserve to be paid less than anybody because he's that spectacular. But you paid to show up and play and to put your excellence on display. And that is something that he has struggled to do. To Kyrie Irving, I want to say here on national television, I'll deal with Papa Kyrie. You know, Diedrich, when I see him, based on a text he once sent me, that's none of anybody's business but ours. I'll deal with that when he and I run into each other and we'll have a conversation like grown men should, okay? As it pertains to Kyrie's family, I'm incredibly sensitive to what Kyrie has said because it's serious and people, I'm not joking about it, but other people have joked about it, and that's something that we should always be take seriously because we don't want people's families looking at them and looking at somebody be ridiculed. I mean, you play, and we got to call it like we see it. But when we get off the court of play or off the field of play and we start talking about people's behavior, we start talking about people's character, that's not a joke. Now, if you play like a joke, deal with that. If you shoot 1 for 20 and stuff like that, get over it, okay? Ain't no compassion or sympathy because we just talking about your performance, not you as a man. But with Kyrie Irving, it's certainly transcended off the court. And so the level of sensitivity that he has towards what his family is hearing, I respect the hell out of that. I appreciate him saying that. And I'm going to treat this subject and any future conversations about Kyrie with the seriousness that it deserves, even though I wasn't joking about him before, because I meant what the hell I said. And I'm going to reiterate that point now. Marcus Spears, Monica McNutt, Kyrie Irving, his first year in Brooklyn, missed 52 games. Got injured, but he missed 52 games. Kyrie Irving last year missed 28 games. Kyrie Irving this year has only played in 14 games. Everything ain't been about the vaccine. Marcus, I'm with you. As somebody who went through hell going through COVID and all of this stuff, even though I'm a proponent of taking the vaccine, who the hell am I? I only do it because my doctors, my medical professionals that I trust have advised me to do so. If somebody else's medical professionals advise them against that, I never ran into a medical professional that has advised against it. But if they have one, more power to them. I'm not here to judge Kyrie Irving about his vaccination status. I'm talking about Kyrie Irving, the baller, who doesn't want to ball nearly as much as other ballers want to ball. KD, James Harden, and countless other players in the NBA were very reluctant and hesitant to take the vaccine. LeBron James was on the record, reluctant to take the vaccine. But they ultimately made a decision because they got a job to do. Andrew Wiggins took the vaccine. Didn't want to take it, but took the vaccine anyway because he wanted to play. Everybody universally had a problem with the mandate. Tens of millions of Americans have a problem with mandates. 1,500 people in New York City just got laid off because of their refusal to take the vaccine. But over 95% of law enforcement officials, medical workers, and what have you take the vaccine because why? That's the mandate that's been handed down by the local government. What I'm saying to you is this. Kyrie's refusal to do so has to take that into consideration. You the dude that said, hell with all of y'all, I'ma do what I feel. Right or wrong, that's your position. Now, why does that matter? Here's why it matters. There was no vaccine when the season was halted. Monica, you remember this. When they resumed play in the bubble, who was the vice president in the Players Association trying to dissuade players to play in the bubble? That was Kyrie Irving. By the way, he didn't even consult with Chris Paul, the president. He just went out publicly and took that position. Then when they came back after bubble play, and then after the break, once the Lakers won the championship in the bubble, there was a 10-month gap between February and then December of 2020. The season started on December 22nd, 2 weeks later, 2 weeks, January 6th, Kyrie Irving needed a break because he was traumatized by the riots at the U.S. Capitol. What the hell that got to do with playing basketball? What that got to do with doing your job? We all showed up the next day. Tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people had to work the next day in the United States of America. Kyrie, the one that didn't show up. And then you were so traumatized that you got busted partying with your family without a mask on, knowing that it was in violation of the NFL safety protocols, which further delayed your return to playing basketball and doing your job. And all the while, the people in Brooklyn, not that fans were coming in to attendance or whatever, I'm saying over the 3 years he's been in Brooklyn, people basically have gotten to see him more on the road than they've got to see him at the Barclays Center. So at the end of the day, your priority towards doing your job that you get paid to do, that enables you to be philanthropic to a very high level, enables you to be charitable, and all of that other stuff is because you get paid to play basketball. And what's the one thing you haven't done enough of? Play basketball. That is the story about Kyrie Irving. That is why he should feel guilty, because he comes across, at the very least, selfish. It's about him. Kyrie's working. Kyrie came back to the NBA ready to ball because he was always working out. But he the kind of guy, y'all, he'll work out 10 hours a day. You just don't tell him when to do it. You don't just show up to practice, listening to the GM, the coach, or whatever. He wants to do things on his own terms. Okay. And anybody who feels differently, you're peons. You're small-minded. You're not on his level. That's Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, I do have a problem with that.
Guilty. That is why he should feel guilty.
It's not team behavior.
Yeah. It's a shame that that's his priority instead of doing his job first. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.